national educator.
Hello learner, welcome to our lesson today. This is a social studies lesson, a class 6 social studies lesson, and today we are beginning a new topic. The topic is trade, and we shall look at specifically imports and exports of countries in Eastern Africa. We are going to learn about imports and exports of countries in Eastern Africa. As we progress through the lesson, you will get to understand what we are talking about. And in the lesson today, we are also going to look at something else, which I've written here, forms of trade. Forms of trade. So as we talk about the imports and the exports in the countries, in the Eastern African countries, we are going to also look at the forms of trade. Okay? So those are two things we are going to look at. So we are going to ask ourselves, what is trade? It's a new topic. So what is trade? You have an idea what trade means? I hope you have an idea. So you are saying that trade is the buying and selling of goods and services. Simple explanation. When you buy and when you sell something, what you have done is what you are calling trade. Or when you give a service to somebody, maybe repairing a shoe, okay, or repairing some clothes somewhere, that is a service. That is also a trade because you are exchanging something. You can also say that it is the exchange of goods and services for money. So when you are doing trade, there is something which is involved, and this is what you are calling money. You exchange money, you get something back. Or you give a service, you get some money back. So that is trade in simple terms. Buying and selling of goods and services in order to get money. I hope you have got that one. So during trade, there are two things. We are saying goods sold to other countries are called exports. Okay? Export. When you sell goods to another country, you have done an export. Those goods, they are called exports. So that is the topic today. When you said import and exports for those countries. So when you are selling them, we call them in one word, export. Okay? Then goods which are brought into the country. All the goods, they have one name, and that name is imports. I hope you've got that. So what we take out of the country to sell is the export. What is brought to our country or to countries which are in Eastern Africa is what we are calling imports. Okay? Instead of calling them each one individually, all of them are given those two words. When you take them out, export. When you bring them in, imports. That is what we are going to learn today. So remember I told you we are going to look at forms of trade. So how do you trade? There are two ways you can do trade. So the first way is through domestic trade or internal trade. Domestic trade or what we call internal trade. Okay? The other way of doing trade is international or external trade. So there are two ways of doing this trade we talked about. The buying and selling of goods, the buying and the selling, the import and the export. All these, they fall under two ways of doing it. So domestic trade, okay, or internal, and international or external trade. Two ways. So we have talked of the forms of trade.